Suppose you need to move away for a while and still need to pay rent. In that case, subletting the rental unit may be the best option. However, before you start to draw up your first sublease agreement, it is essential to consider federal and state laws governing these arrangements. In this video, we'll go over basically everything you need to know to create a sublease agreement. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Santiago with DoorLoop. Now, before we get started, let me quickly remind you that I'm not an attorney, so I cannot give you any legal advice or financial advice. And yes, I do work for DoorLoop. All right? That being said, let's get right into it. Arizona Sublease Agreement for Rental Properties. Sublease agreements. A sublease arrangement in Arizona allows the tenant to rent their residence to someone else. To detail the terms of the agreement, a sublease contract is drawn up. This legally binding agreement is drawn up by the original tenant with the landlord's consent. Subletting is an excellent option for renters that wish to lease a room or the entire house while still bound by the terms of their original lease agreement. A sublease typically specifies the same rights and obligations as the existing contract. The initial tenant is regarded as the sublessor in the sublease agreement, while the third party, or new tenant, is known as the sublessee. The original renter, lessee, must have formal approval from the landlord to grant a sublease. A tenant who wants to sublet a rented property or a portion of it must get permission in writing from the landlord if such authorization is not already stipulated in the initial rental agreement. What to include? Your sublease agreement will need to include the following: the names and contact details of the original tenant and the subtenant, a description of the rental unit, terms of the sublease, responsibilities concerning utilities, information on the security deposit, including the portion that is non-refundable, lease term, start and end dates of the contract, and notice days, as well as a copy of the original lease or a description of the relevant terms. Special laws. Any sublease contract must adhere to Arizona laws, which stipulate that lead paint risks must be disclosed if the home was constructed before 1978. The notice specifications and eviction process requirements are also included in these laws. When creating a sublease agreement that incorporates the terms of the master lease, be cautious and always verify that it complies with the Arizona Residential Landlord and Tenant Act. In the next part of this video, we'll discuss some of the laws that apply. The maximum security deposit allowed by Arizona state law, Section 33-1321A, is the equivalent of 1.5 months' rent. Moreover, the security deposit must be fully refunded, or the amount left over after deductible expenses, within 14 working days of the tenant's departure, according to Arizona state law in Section 33-1321D. The rental agreement must expressly indicate if a portion is non-refundable. Otherwise, all deposits qualify for a full refund. It is crucial for the lessee who desires to sublet a rental unit to do the necessary background checks on the prospective subtenant. They should act like a landlord and demand that a potential sublessee submit a rental application form. This application should request written consent to perform a credit, criminal history, and eviction check. Keep in mind that you are permitted to ask for an application fee to conduct these checks. Discrimination based on race, ethnicity, religion, sex, family status, or disabilities is prohibited under federal law. Rental units that meet the criteria for age-restricted establishments are exempt from the rule under Arizona law, as stated in Section AZ 41-11491.04, violating the terms of the original lease agreement. When leasing a portion of a rental unit, like a bedroom, it is crucial that the housemates sign a sublet agreement and that the rental contract permits such roommates. It is crucial that the original tenant receive consent from the landlord and establish the subtenant as an authorized resident, or they risk violating the terms of the original lease, in which case both the sublessor and sublessee could be evicted. If a landlord wants to expressly forbid any subletting of a rental unit, they should include such restriction in the rental contract. In the next section, we provide a step-by-step guide on how to create your own sublease agreement. Check the original lease to see whether subletting is prohibited. If it is not, get consent from the landlord to sublease the unit or a portion of it. Identify the parties involved and include their details in the agreement. Write down details about the apartment, such as its address and current condition. Make a note of the lease term. Determine what the subleasee's responsibilities for utilities will be. Indicate what security deposit will be required and the portion that is non-refundable. And include a copy of the original lease. Lastly, sign the agreement. The original tenant is ultimately responsible for the subtenant's behavior following the signing of a sublease agreement. This means that he or she is liable for any damage to the leased unit or unpaid rent. It is in the landlord's best interest for the sublessor and the subleasee to share the responsibility. Moreover, it is in the initial tenant's best interests to hold any subleasee accountable for all the clauses of the original lease. Here are some of the responsibilities that the sublessor will have: getting consent from the landlord for subletting the apartment or home, returning the security deposit within 14 working days, and following the correct eviction process. Okay, at this point, we have basically given you all the information you need to sublet your rental property. But creating a sublease agreement from scratch can be time-consuming and inconvenient. Fortunately, we have a free form that you can complete. We have it in a PDF and Word document format, and it's right there in the description for you, okay? You're gonna find the links right there. E-signature. Remember that with DoorLoop, you can get your subleases e-signed in a few seconds. You can also get the e-signature step much more easily by creating reusable sublease templates that are auto-filled with tenant information. Plus, DoorLoop makes it super simple to find the best tenants by syndicating your listings on popular websites like Zillow, Trulia, HotPads, Apartments.com, and more. You can also make sure that you're bringing in the best tenants by screening your prospects in seconds through DoorLoop. Okay, so to wrap it up, just remember that sublease arrangements can be the answer in many situations. However, it is very important to obtain consent from the landlord for the sublease and to ensure that you are not violating any terms of the original lease. Remember, if you need any help drawing up a sublet agreement of your own, you can download our free form or use our software to generate rental documents quickly and easily. So try DoorLoop for free to create your sublease contract. There's a link right there in the description for you. And remember, if you want to get access to a lot more content, such as videos on real estate technology and artificial intelligence, as well as on commercial and residential lease agreements, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, like this video, share it with your friends, with your team, and basically anyone you know in real estate. And as always, thanks for watching.